Welcome to the Adventures in Alchemy podcast, where we share tips, techniques, and true stories to support you in using the law of attraction and alchemy to create magic and live the life of your dreams. Here's your host, the founder of dailyalchemy.com, Michelle Martin Dobbins.
Okay, hey, this is Michelle Martin Dobbins with dailyalchemy.com, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about energy integration and how sometimes we use objects out in the world to bring energies into our field that we need and that are good for us. And then once we've integrated those energies, we don't desire it anymore. And sometimes we look at that as a bad thing, like we'll do a certain thing for a long time, and then when we don't want to do it anymore, we feel like we're a quitter or we're bad or whatever. But I really think that our bodies and our minds and our spirits are smarter than we give them credit for. And it's kind of similar to how we may crave oranges if our body needs orange juice. Can we get off and our body crave things that aren't good for us? Yeah, that's true. That does happen sometimes. But when we're aligned, and even a lot of times when we're not, our body will crave things that we need. And our soul and our spirit also craves things that we need. It may crave experiences, and it also craves things. In fact, I'm going to start out talking about collections. Do you collect anything? Do you collect angels or shot glasses or thimbles or anything? Usually there's an underlying reason, something that you get from that collection. There's an energy that it brings to you. And then there's usually a point in time when it doesn't bring that energy anymore. So I'm here to let you off the hook if you have a collection in two ways. One, I think that it's perfectly wonderful to collect anything as long as it feels good to you, because then you are integrating that energy that you need from those items. It's helping you, it's supporting you. But when it comes to the point where it no longer feels good, then I'm going to let you off the hook and say, guess what? You get to get rid of that collection because it's no longer serving you. And that's where sometimes we get stuck. When I was a child, I used to collect bells, and I loved them, and I loved ringing them, and just I don't know, there was something about the energy of bells that I just delighted in. And everybody got me gifts of bells, and I had this huge collection from all over. I had probably 200 bells. And around the time I got out of high school or college, somewhere in there, I was like, I don't want these. The energy became a burden. And I think it was when I graduated college and I was moving out on my own for reals. And my parents were like, take your stuff. And I was like, I don't want to take these bells. And my mom was like, I don't want these bells. So I ended up just giving most of them away. I kept one or two that had a sentimental thing, or that I really liked the tone. I know one was a really old bell that I found, and I can't even remember what the other one was. I think it was one that my grandmother who had passed away maybe gave me. No, my grandmother. I don't know. But, 198 bells went and 2 stayed. So then after the bells came the angels. When I lived on my own, when I first had my own apartment after college and my first real job, real apartment, real life, the angels I started collecting, and they felt very soothing to me, and just they made me feel safe. And so I had a lot of angels for a while, and then the energy of them lost the appeal. And so I gave most of those away. I think I still have one. And then at a certain point in time, I started collecting Pooh Bear, Winnie the Pooh stuff. And so I had that for, 5 or 6 years. It was when my daughter was little, everything she had was Winnie the Pooh. And then it spilled out, and it just was a very comforting energy to me at the time. Everything in my kitchen was Pooh, and there were pictures. It spilled out over my whole house, our family house. And then the energy of that left, and I didn't need all of that anymore. And most of the Pooh things went. So you may have had similar things yourself where a certain energy, a certain thing, you're just drawn to collecting it and having it for a certain period of time and then it leaves. And I want to tell you that I think that is a fine and beautiful thing. My daughter is going through this, and she had collected Dr. Pepper memorabilia and Star Trek memorabilia, two of her favorite things. And now she's like, it feels suffocating. It used to feel good and fun, and now it feels suffocating. And she's like, I don't want it, but I don't want people to feel bad who bought it for me, and you bought a lot of it for me. And I'm like, no, you let it go. Let it go. If it doesn't feel good to you, then let it go. You don't have to attach. The gift was freely given for you to enjoy as long as you enjoy it. And to me, that's what a gift is. If someone gives you something and you have to worry about the fact if you no longer want it, that they're going to be offended, then it's not a gift. It's an obligation. It's a burden to bear, not a gift. So remember that. If you're thinking about something you've given someone, don't feel dismayed if they don't want it anymore. Just know that there is a blessing by letting that stuff go and letting it go to someone else who loves it. Like Marie Kondo from the magical art of tidying up. I may have that title wrong. I will try to put a link if I can remember in the show notes for that. But, if it doesn't bring you joy, then it doesn't belong in your world. But if it does bring you joy, then it does. And so that's where she and I kind of go, because, she doesn't like clutter and things, but I'm like, if the clutter, not necessarily clutter, but if there are things that bring you joy and I feel like sometimes they call to our soul because they have an energy that we need at that point in time. And then once we've integrated that energy or we've made a shift, then we don't necessarily need those objects anymore. So, and over time, I think maybe our need for objects as a whole may shift, because trying to think, I don't think I really collect anything now. I've gotten to the point where now I love to collect memories of trips. I love to travel. But, it's okay if you do. And I would feel totally okay if I decided that something felt good to me to purchase again. But when you get into that thing where something brings you joy and you purchase it, that's beautiful. Soak up all that joy and energy for it. And, you might have it for a year and then it might be like you're done with it and it can move on and bless somebody else. You might truly enjoy it and love it for 50 years, And it's kind of interesting because I feel like life is moving faster. And so it almost feels like we go through things faster, because I think of my grandmother who collected depression glass, and she loved it and adored it her whole entire life. She had this collection for 50 years and, she adored it. So either that or she felt guilty and she kept it. I might be going down the wrong tree, but it's interesting to me how we can be called to certain things for a certain time. And I used to get so caught up in even this is it, this is the perfect thing, these things in my house are perfect, or even these activities are perfect. At one point in time, my oldest daughter was doing Taekwondo, and my husband and I were doing Taekwondo, and it just the energy of it just was perfect at the time. And I loved it. And I was like, I never have to worry because, she'll keep doing it. We'll keep doing it. The rest of the kids will do it. And we'll always be happy doing this Taekwondo. I know it's kind of silly, but it just seemed like, I have the sports extracurricular under control and we don't have to change. And then she didn't like it anymore. And then I didn't like it anymore. And things changed it and we started doing different things because that energy there, we integrated what we needed from it. So it's interesting to me because now I love yoga, and I've gone through times in my life where I've loved yoga and then I've left yoga and I've come back to yoga. And, part of me is wants to get into that trap of saying, well, this is my routine. I will do yoga forever. And I'm like, how about I just lighten up and know that it's the right energy for me now. It's giving me something that I need right now. And, it may for all my life or it may not. It's really interesting because my husband and I had a discussion about something that one of our children is wanting to make a change in something. And he was like, but we have to make sure that they learn that, you can't ever quit anything until you finish it. You see it through to the end. And I was like, well, is that really true? I mean, yeah, there are some things that you definitely want to finish because you have an obligation to another person or what have you. But sometimes even that, you can make a graceful exit by finding someone else to take over that obligation for you, someone that love it, because, life's kind of short. Do we want to spend it doing things we don't love doing? And, even if we did love doing them at one time, So, a couple other quick stories that I wanted to share with you actually come from a book that I love, love, love too, which is called Clear Your Clutter with Feng Shui by Karen Kingston. And I'll try to put a link in the show notes for that. But I love this little book. I always it's one of the books that I actually reread. And I usually read it every 2 or 3 years. And I do end up getting rid of more and more stuff, it seems like, every time. But she shared in the book how at one point in time, I think she was living in Bali, and she had so much purple in her wardrobe that that's how the locals would give directions to her house. They'd be saying, just go to the house that has the purple laundry hanging out. And she said for a period of time, she wore purple almost every single day. And then she felt like all of a sudden she got to a point where she had integrated the energy of purple, her soul was seeking from wearing purple. And now she hardly ever wears it anymore. And I've kind of gone through that same thing myself with clothing, because for the longest time I have worn pastel colors, florals. There were a lot of things that I just didn't wear because I thought, bright colors, red, bright orange, yellow, green were not my color. And then I took a class actually on energy signatures, I guess it is, or energy types. And they were saying my energy type is a still energy type, which makes sense. And that these bright colors that I have run from my entire life are actually really good colors for my personality type. And they help integrate a feeling of strength and steadfastness that works and makes people who have a energy type like mine feel good. And so I tried it, and guess what? It worked. And then there's part of me that goes, okay, well, now I know I'm going to change and I'm going to dress like this forever. And then, but I've actually got to a point where I'm like, yeah, I think the class is really good. And right now that dressing this way feels really supportive to me. But I'm open to the fact that at some point in time, maybe I'll integrate this energy and it won't feel good to me. And if it doesn't, then I'll dress differently. So I think that is for us, just being aware that sometimes we can get a push from outside, like a class that tells us, hey, try this, or, a friend or what have you. But once we try, dressing a different way or try a different activity in our lives, we'll discover, or some things we just drawn to because they meet a need in us. They give us the type of energy that we're looking for. And then sometimes we get to that point where we've integrated that energy into our life and we don't need it anymore. And that's perfect and wonderful. And actually, I don't know, I feel like it's the way life's supposed to work. And when you get into the flow of life and you are doing one or more, but just even one daily practice every day, you'll find that you're just naturally drawn to what you need, and you naturally feel fine about letting go of the things that you no longer need. And I think a lot of us, being drawn to what we need is usually pretty easy. Sometimes if you've been told that you shouldn't want certain things, or you shouldn't dress a certain way, or you shouldn't be involved in certain activities, sometimes that can be a hang up. And if it is, just let it go and don't shit on yourself. I know that's really easy for me to say, but yeah, just say, okay, well, I'm going to try this and see how it feels. I'm an adult now, and if I want to wear red and everybody tells me I don't look good in red, it's okay. I can try it. There's so many different shades of red. Maybe I'll feel really good in it. Maybe I won't, but put it on and feel the energy of it. Or, maybe someone told you that, you're not tall enough to play basketball, but you'd really like to. Give it a try. Have fun with it and see how that energy feels. And then if you don't like it anymore, or the energy doesn't resonate with you anymore, then it's fine to drop it. I think we put so many constraints on ourselves as to, if I follow this path, I must stay on this path forever. I must stick with this forever. I must keep this collection because, my mom bought these, or my Aunt Mabel bought these, or whatever. And it's, if we just follow, basically, I'm kind of going back to what Marie Kondo does, like what brings us joy, then we'll call in the right energy for us. And, it's like part of growth, actually. And do we need necessarily outside things to support our growth? Not necessarily, but it can be nice. It can be nice to have, just for me when I was single, having that energy of those angels around. I just always felt like angels are watching over me, angels are watching over me. And it made me feel better being a single woman living alone. Until I finally got to a point where I felt secure and I didn't need that. And then I was ready to get rid of the angels because they didn't give me that energetic boost anymore. But, I packed them up and took them to the thrift shop so that they could give somebody else an energetic boost. And I feel like if we do, be what calls to us, what our soul is resonating with right now, and then when we're done, we let it go, it'll go somewhere to someone who resonates with us. With it, someone will take that item, or they'll take our place in a class, and it will be perfect for them. And we get to move on to what's now perfect for us. So that's just my take on how we use the physical world around us to help us integrate the energy that we need. And you may be, I just tend to just follow my intuition on this most of the time. Until actually I took the class on the energy signature and they said, wear this. And my intuition was not telling me to wear that. But I was like, you know what? My intuition did tell me to take the class, which was not something that I would normally do because I'm not a real big style makeup kind of person. But I took the class and then I said, okay, you know what? Even though it feels counterintuitive, I'm going to try that. I'm going to put on those clothes and see how it feels. And like I said, it felt very powerful and strong. So sometimes we can look out and say, I'm wanting to feel safe. What might make me feel safe? Or I'm wanting to feel strong and powerful. What might make me feel strong and powerful? And, it could be a way of dressing. It could be a cologne or a scent that you wear. It could be a collection. It could be an angel statue. And it doesn't even have to be a collection. It could just be one. I guess we don't all have to go overboard, but sometimes it feels good when you're in that mode. You just want tons of angels. And then okay, maybe one's good. So I'm definitely not telling you that you have to buy 40 angels to feel good or 40 of anything to feel good. But, looking there and going back to your core desired feelings, you could have fun playing with that and what would make you feel or would support you in feeling the way that you want to feel. What could be a touchstone? If you want to feel strong, a martial arts class might feel good. Or, if you want to feel connected, what would be a good thing for connected? Might be pictures of your friends, putting pictures of your friends, you and your friends up around your house. So that's my theme for today, is looking at how we use the world around us to integrate the energies and to create the feelings and emotions that we want to, and how most of the time we just do it intuitively without ever even knowing we're doing it. And it's perfect and good as long as we don't get stuck. And, if we get stuck, we'll eventually get unstuck. But, and then I guess if you really get stuck, then you end up on hoarders. So we don't want to go there if we don't have to. But even the hoarders are getting something, right? They're using the energy of that stuff to help them feel safe. And then if they can work with, someone or themselves and begin to feel safe, then they can let go of that stuff. So to me, it's a really interesting topic, how we choose what activities to do, what things to have in our environment, what clothing to wear, what scents to wear, even ways to cut our hair or style our hair. Is kind of funny because certain hairstyles can give you a certain energy feeling. I remember reading about how the Supremes, when Diana Ross was in the Supremes, and they were told that they had to wear those little bouffant hairdos. And then when she left the Supremes and she went out on her own, she just let her hair grow long and wild and free. And she said, it just felt so free to be able to grow her hair any way she wanted to. And so for her, for that time, that was a way of integrating that energy of freedom. So yeah, be on the lookout for what kind of energies you might be integrating. It's just kind of fun to look around and see, even in your past history, what you've done and how it's served you, and what you're doing right now might be serving you or not serving you. Is it giving you an energy? Is it bringing you a joy? Or is it time to let it go and bring in something new? I would love to hear any of your stories of ways that you've integrated energies that you needed into your life. And you can reach me at dailyalchemy.com. There are little buttons there that you can send me email. You can go to my Facebook page, my Twitter page, all those good pages, whatever one is your thing. I would love to hear from you and what you do and how you integrate the energies into your life. Namaste and big hugs. Talk to you next time. Would you like some help creating more magic in your life? I've got a ton of freebies and goodies for you. They're all tucked away inside my magical freebie vault. You can get free access, though. You just have to go to www.dailyalchemy.com/magical-freebie-vault. Again, that's dailyalchemy.com/magical-freebie-vault. And when you get there, you can just plug in your name and email and you will get instant access to all kinds of goodies. There are daily and weekly manifesting planners, the How to Shift Your Vibe in 5 Minutes e-kit that has audios and a workbook. There are moon manifesting planners and daily love lists and money trackers and all kinds of goodies right there. I didn't want to make you have to go to a bunch of different pages and sites and wait for certain freebies to come out. So I just took all of my freebies and put them in one place where you could just sign up one time and download any of them that you want at any time that you needed. So you can just head on over to dailyalchemy.com/magical-freebie-vault and download them today. Have a magical day.
Thanks for listening to the Adventures in Alchemy podcast. Connect with me on thedailyalchemy.com or Facebook at facebook.com/Michelle Dobbins author. Join us next time for even more magical life tips.